Well, for more on how the candidates are handling their campaigns, we're joined live now by former CIA officer Philip Giraldi. Now, the US elections, of course, are just around the corner. Obama says he will resist any pressure from Israel, and Romney reiterates his backing for America's ally. But if we look beyond the campaign promises, where do you think the two really stand over this?
Well, I think it appears to be clear that Romney would be much more inclined to either initiate a war on behalf of Israel or to join in on one. I suspect that President Obama appreciates the reality of this in terms of the considerable downside that would take place, and he is extremely reluctant to do so. As your commentator noted, however, in the debate which took place on Monday, they both apparently came down at roughly the same position, that if Israel were to initiate a military action, the U.S. would support it militarily. Now, that is a bit of a leap for Obama, but not much of a leap for Romney, who's been saying that all along.
Would it be a vote winner for Romney to carry out military threats against Iran? Is that what the American people would want?
There's a certain constituency in the Republican Party that likes the saber rattling and likes the assertion of American force. And obviously to that group within the Republican Party, Romney has considerable appeal. But the fact is, the opinion polls demonstrate over and over again that the American people are extremely tired of the wars that have been taking place over the last 12 years and would be extremely reluctant to enter into a war on any pretext against Iran or anyone else.
What sort of advice would the CIA be giving at the moment, that Iran is a legitimate cause for concern?
Well, the CIA basically provides intelligence on what the state of play is in terms of Iraq's nuclear program, where it's going, whether it's going to become weaponized or not, that sort of thing. The CIA really doesn't have a point of view, but I think both the intelligence community and the military community in the United States are strongly opposed to any kind of war against Iran. They realize that this is something that easily could spin out of control and would have serious consequences both for the economy and for the security of the entire Mideast region.
Would Israel ignore those concerns, though? Is there a possibility that it could go ahead and attack Iran without a green light from the US?
I think Israel, if Israel were convinced, say Mr. Romney is elected, if Israel were convinced that he would join in after they initiate an attack on Iran, they would be tempted to do so. I don't think that Israel is willing to undertake an attack on Iran where the position that the United States would be taking might be questionable. I don't think they have the resources to do it. They realize that there's considerable downside for them too, and I don't see that as a potential option. I believe that they are mostly looking at their war rhetoric and their talk of red lines as a way of drawing the United States automatically into a conflict. And that's what they were trying to trap President Obama into doing with this seeking for red lines. They believe that Romney is, of course, already on board.
Just finally, can we take a wider perspective of the troubled region, the full-blown conflict in Syria, the chaos in Libya at the moment? Just what other challenges, though, do you think the next US president will have to face? Just briefly.
Well, there's a fundamental challenge. The fundamental challenge is whether our foreign policy, particularly over the last 11 or 12 years, has been effective in terms of making the United States more secure and the United States more respected. I think you would have to conclude that that has not been the case. So there will have to be a radical rethink whether the basic policy of U.S. intervention in many places in the Middle East and elsewhere has been a good idea. And I think the conclusion will have to be that the United States will have to certainly retrench from that kind of policy.
Former CIA officer Philip Giraldi, thank you very much for your thoughts. It's great to hear what you have to say live here on RT. Thank you.